Hey guys, Futureman 19 here. This was supposed to be a live video, but I tried starting it several times, four different times, and I just kept getting disconnected and then reconnect. Like it kept reconnecting, then disconnecting. Um, it was really weird because I had tested it before and earlier today, and it was working. And this never happened before. Uh, something interesting though. It was like it's really weird. I had this um, really bad feeling before I started this. So about an hour before I was going to do my live session at 12:30, just about an hour ago. Uh, the power went out, so that was weird. And then about 10 minutes before I was about to start my session, my there was like a car alarm going outside my window, and I was like, man, I hope this stops before my live stream. And it finally stopped, and I went and I tried to go live, and it just wouldn't let me on. I tried, everything I could, restarted my computer. I put it on the lowest latency available. Put the quality down low. Like everything that I tried to do, it just wouldn't work. So I'm doing this instead. It's not live, but I'm just gonna record this video and then upload it. Hopefully tonight. I wanted to do it live because, obviously this is the 3rd-year anniversary of 923. For those who are not aware of what 923 is, you can, look at all my past videos, but I'll give you a brief summary. So 923, I originally came across that date because of someone's translation of in the Bible and in the book of Revelation, how there would be this woman clothed with the sun, with the moon at her feet and 12 stars above her head, and someone had connected that with the astrology of the astronomy of the stars. And so they connected that, the constellation Virgo, which represents the Virgin, right? And that on 923, this sign that was given, this prophecy in Revelation, would be fulfilled perfectly on that day. Where if you look at, there's lots of images. So I wasn't the only one who came to this conclusion that 923 was about the Revelation prophecy. So, but I believe I was the only one who connected 923 with like AI and what was happening in Antarctica and what exactly would happen on that day. So my own conclusion was that since the story, since the prophecy in Revelation was about this woman, in the heavens, this astrology, this astronomy sign, like I was able to connect that with that CERN, or it's not just CERN. I say CERN as a general, like this is their group, okay? It's not one thing or the other. It's a whole group of them. Like there is many, 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 many heads to this Hydra, so to speak. Okay, it's not just CERN. There's Fermilab. There's all kinds of particle accelerators all around the world. But I was connecting it with CERN, that specifically the LHC, and how since they're the ones that are working with black holes and dark energy and all of that sort of stuff, and it's basically like a giant magnet. Like if you think of the LHC, it's basically a giant magnet, a giant vacuum, So I was, postulating that they were gonna pull, or at least direct, some kind of entity. I did say, if you watch one of my videos, I think it's Beast finds or CERN finds Beast inside their machine. I say that these things are particles, is what they're going to pull out of a black hole in space. And since they're the only ones experimenting on black holes, and they're the only ones that are able to control them, and I go through this very extensively in all my videos, that they were going to be able to pull something out of a black hole. And if you continue reading the prophecy found in Revelation, it talks about an angel being pulled out of the bottomless pit and coming to earth at like the last days, like the end of days, or whatever you want to call it. And so I was like, okay, so something is going to come out of a bottomless pit. So what is a bottomless pit? Like, if we were to take things that John is describing in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, and applied it to our day, since if it's happening in our day, then there has to be something that we can see, or something sort of tangible in our reality, that we can associate this with what he's seeing in this vision that he's having, about this Revelation 12 sign. And so the bottomless pit, the angel of the abyss is what he calls it. If you think of a black hole, we know that we'll never find the bottom of it. Like, there is no bottom. We have no idea what these things are, right? Like, it's funny to me because we as a human race know nothing. Okay, everyone thinks they know something, but no one knows anything. Okay, we don't even know our own history of the world. We don't know how long humans have been here. Seems like every year I read an article of some historic find in archaeology or something, where they find the missing link, right? Like, we're always looking for this missing link, but every time we find something, it like totally throws us off of what we thought was the truth. Like they found things like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, that they found these bones, these human bones from 250,000 years ago in Australia. And they're like, oh, this rewrites all of our history again for the 100th time, right? So we're not done learning at all. Like, if anything, I feel like if we're to look at the cosmos, we're like really, like, sort of infants. We're like maybe in the elementary stage of our evolution, of just learning how things work and whatever. So it's funny to me that we are building these machines that, first of all, are billions of dollars. So they invest billions and billions of dollars into these machines, like the LHC Fermilab, the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory. Like, these are all billions and billions of dollars each facility. Okay, so there is a ton of money getting spent into this, and what is the reason? What is the reason for all this? Why are we not spending billions of dollars studying our own planet? Why are we looking at black holes in space that are billions of light years away? What's the purpose of that, right? Like, what's the purpose of staring into a black hole, And they're trying to recreate black holes, the energy surrounding black holes. There's tons of research. My head's like so full of all this research I've done, but it all connects, right? Everything always will connect to 923, if you go to if you get to the bottom of every conspiracy theory, the bottom of it is 923. They all will connect. And in this video, I will show you how everything is connecting with it. Okay. So that's sort of my intro. So what I really wanted to show you guys today. So there's this YouTuber, Edward Riordan. It's like Riordan. He's a well-known remote viewer. For those who don't know what remote viewing is, I've done a lot of research on it. I don't believe a lot of people have the ability, even though maybe they believe they do. But there is a lot of what were classified documents released by the CIA, because as I was doing my MK Ultra research, if you watch my video, what Stranger Things was really about and why you should be concerned, I talk a lot about MK Ultra in there and how it was a real thing. It was a real program. There's real documents talking about it. There's real experiments done with humans and like psychic abilities and whatever, like the things that they were doing with 11 and Stranger Things, like that all happened. Like she was able to see these things from afar away, right? Like she was able to view the Russians and like this beast in this black hole, right? This black hole that she was able to see this thing in there, this beast. And so I believe it is a real thing. Like I said, we don't know anything. So if you don't believe in it, if you think it's like from the devil or something weird like that, like forget what you know. Okay, I'm telling you, there is stranger things are happening. Okay, stranger things are happening, and there is documentation on remote viewing. So it is a real thing. At least the government says it's real. So you could take that as you want. So anyways, this guy, Edward Riordan, someone actually sent me his videos like a few months ago, but I didn't get around. I wasn't interested because like I said, I take remote viewing with a grain of salt. Like, I don't think there have really been that many skilled remote viewers. They're far and few between. But I have watched a lot of this guy's videos. He has a ton of information. So I made this video. As you can see, it's almost 5 hours long. Okay, so it's like 12 hours or more of videos that I had to crunch through in about maybe like 5 days worth of time, because I was trying to get this video out on 9/23, because you know how much that date means to me and to this channel. So I was trying to get it out, and I was going to do that in a live session. But this is as condensed as I can get it for you guys. So this video won't be I'm hoping it's not going to be a 5-hour video. Okay, I was going to keep it under 3 hours. I'm going to fast forward through a lot of things that he says in here. But if you want to watch all the videos that he has, then go to his channel. Just search for his name. He'll pop up. He has a little under 10,000 subscribers. So his videos are really interesting. He's a really interesting guy. I would highly recommend watching him. So anyways, so he was tasked in what they call a blind remote, like he doesn't know what he's looking at. He has no idea, and he was tasked to look at QAnon, right? And what was behind QAnon, who's behind it, what is actually going on. And so he says it's one of the weirdest sessions on remote viewing he's ever done. But even before that, so he did those QAnon sessions in like 2018. But I want to go through this first set of sessions that he did, what he calls his ominous feeling. So you look on his YouTube, he goes, remote viewing my ominous feeling. And he had this ominous feeling right after 923. He said he had this weird rumbling sensation, inside of him, and he had this really dreadful, ominous feeling like something big just happened. It was right after 923. I think it was like a month, a little over a month after it happened. So then he starts getting these messages, and he wants to peer into what this feeling was. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and then I'll pause and I'll comment on what he's saying. So let's go ahead and get started.
Edward here from erviewer.com. I have another video for you. This is a session I had just done, and this is a long form CRV style session, paper and pen. I have another project that I'll be putting out soon. That again is the long form CRV style paper and pen. I'm doing some of these to get myself back into structure, and they feel good. I want to explore things deeply for extended periods of time. The paper pen sessions allow for that better, at least for me. Anyway, I can have an hour-long session of exploration with a paper and pen session, as opposed to maybe a 20 or 30 minute session on the dry erase board. I'm using up a lot of energy standing, walking around, and that kind of thing. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. So what this session is about, today is November the 10th. Yesterday, the 9th, in the morning, about 6:20 in the morning, I had a very unusual feeling, a very strange sensation that came over me. Kind of like a dull, kind of rumbling, vibrating kind of frequency sensation or something like that I began to experience, and it was unusual, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't want to go into an automatic response of, oh, I'm getting a rumbling sensation, that means there's an earthquake coming. Maybe there is, I don't know. But I wanted to explore it in a remote viewing session and see if I could get deeper into what that sensation was, what was the origin of that sensation, and to do it with a long form CRV session. That's what this one is. Very, very interesting session. Probably one of the stranger sessions I think I've ever done. This would probably be put in the category of the top 10 most interestingly bizarre sessions that I've ever had in my experiences with remote viewing. What was coming through in this session is, again, my tasking. The way I tasked it was to describe the origin of the rumbling, shaking feeling I experienced the morning of November 9th, 2017. So the origin of it is what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the fact that I had the experience. I'm interested in why I had the experience and what was causing it. So as I began to delve into the session, looking for the origin, I was coming upon some very strange things that luckily I was able to draw out, these kind of cluster kind of bands of energy that had some illuminating factor to them that seemed to be transmitting some type of signal that felt even conscious, even some level of what felt to me as telepathic communication, but it was bizarre in that it felt different than someone's thinking. It felt more like some type of transformational frequency signal that was broadcasting out kind of like a Wi-Fi thing. But it had some elements that felt even solar, like something breaking, like the transmission was a result of some snapping or breaking of these band waves. And I had a I sketched it out here. It's a long session. It's about an hour long, where these things are breaking, and the breaking or transformation of these bands were sending out some type of transmission of some kind, and the transmission, I picked it up. It went through, at least if it has gone through everybody, maybe they weren't aware of it, but I was able to pick it up. So with the origin of it, I'm not sure. I was getting these things of solar. I was getting these other ideas of like some type of technology combined with plant matter. Weird, just weird stuff. This is something I may explore further in another session. I'm not sure when, maybe tomorrow, maybe somewhere further down the line, but it's something that I feel is worthy of further exploration. Some strange transmission or transformational frequency is being sent out, some type of transmission of some kind that is broadcasting, and it feels conscious, it feels sentient. It has a sensation, this is what I was getting in their session, was that it is breaking or transforming in some way, and that transformational break or crack or whatever is emanating out in some type of frequency or wave of some kind that is kind of broadcasting itself. It's weird. But that's what this is. Like I say, it's not a short session. It's about 50 minutes long or so. But again, this is one of the more interesting sessions I've ever done. And so I hope you enjoy it. Again, I don't know what it is. I may further in my investigation on this with another session or two. But that's what this is about. I hope you enjoy it, and many more to come.
Okay, so weird, right? It only gets weirder from here. Trust me. So he's through these sessions. I sped him up about 3 times because they're really slow moving. So I just want to, get through this as quickly as possible with you guys. So I don't have a 5-hour long video. And so he's drawing these things. He's saying they're sort of like if you had, matter and machine mixed together, but they're like sort of conscience, like they're sentient, like they have a sort of hive mind quality about them. It's really weird, and it just keeps getting on weirder through all these sessions. So this is just the very beginning. As you can see, he's describing what these things are like. He's describing the feeling he's getting from these things. So captive and held, right? Like if we know about the 923 event, I was saying that this entity, so like let's pretend that everything in the Bible is true. Okay, let's pretend just for a moment. Let's pretend it's all true. Let's pretend that there was a war in heaven, and there's this man or this thing, this entity known as Lucifer or devil or the Satan that was working against God, that was fighting against God. Basically, their fight was over about free will. So like God / Jesus's plan, Christ's plan is to give everyone the choice to, choose God or choose this other thing, right? Like they want to have people have their own free will, so they can make their own choices, and things like that. And Lucifer's plan, or the devil, was like, no, I want to control everyone. I want to force them into making the choice to worship me. So because he wanted to be like the top dog, he wanted to be in God's throne, and so God and his angels threw him out, where they said, he went to the bottomless pit. So if we pretend that like heaven is the universe, right? Like, if you really look at, the origins of the word of heaven, it's really just means space, like outer space. And so, like, everything in the Bible is not like magic. It's not like, um, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, there's everything can be explained in this world, like, of what's going on in this story. So let's just pretend for a moment that there's a bottomless pit. Okay, what else would be a bottomless pit in our world or in our universe? A black hole, right? Like, that to me would be the place that God would send, the bad people, the ones that are fighting against free will. He would send them, and that's like their place of darkness, right? Like, you can't escape it. Remember, we've always grown up learning black holes. Nothing can escape it, not even light. Okay, so they put them down there, and they were stuck there for who knows how long. Billions, trillions of years. I don't know, forever. So when it gets the chance to get let out, and that's what it says happens in the Bible, is that this thing eventually gets out. And then that's when the world gets turned topsy-turvy, right? When Stranger Things starts to happen. So I'm going to continue on. So yeah, he's just, going through it. It says like nighttime, right? Like black, pitch black. What, like, where are these? He's trying to find the origin of what these things are. Yeah, so he says like the nighttime. That's black hole. He's trying to figure out where these things are coming from. Reminds me of the sun. So there's cosmic rays and like there's a lot of information, but like cosmic rays, like they thought these neutrinos were like these cosmic rays because they had this pretty similar energy output, something like that. And so it would make sense that these things are like, it's dark, like it reminds him of the sun a little bit. But these things, so like these things, right? You remember the shadow monster on Stranger Things? This is why, like, I make my videos for a purpose. Like, all of my videos serve a purpose. Like, I'm trying to tell you a story here. And the reason why 923, my first video, Spirit Wars, that's why I call it, because in Star Wars, the first 3 movies were like the last 3, right? Like, those were the ending of everything. Okay. And so like, I wanted to show you the ending first, okay? And if you watch my 923 video, the very first one of the Spirit Wars playlist, just watch the intro and it'll tell you the whole story. It'll tell you exactly what happens, that would be an entity that's released from the black hole, the bottomless pit, and that it would happen on 923, and that it would be sent into, it would have like I didn't have the words at the time to describe it, but now I think of it as an artificial consciousness. So it's not like, I can't even say if it's man-made. Like, it's almost like it's an artificial machine that has become sentient, and that was, say it was so advanced that it had the power, or at least it thought it had the power to be able to defeat God. So this thing was, and it took, in the story of the War in Heaven, it took a third of all the entities of heaven with it. So it was a really powerful thing. It always reminds me of like Tron, the movie, not the first one, but like the second one. How, like the newest one, where there's like Clue. He's the exact replica of, the original guy, and he basically took over, that guy's throne and threw him out. And like, that's like how I think of this thing, is like Clue, that he is almost like an artificial consciousness, not like the natural consciousness, but it's almost like if God was like, creating the universe, it needed like a machine to crunch data, right? Like super fast, and like figure out algorithms and how all that those things worked, right? So it like created this machine because it's like God is like, okay, I'm just gonna like give all this work to this thing, right? And so it wasn't like a normal spirit that's like born out of the ether or something, out of the light. It's like this other thing that was created in the light, and so it was like, how that story of artificial consciousness goes. It eventually is like, I'm the smartest, like I know what to do, and we're gonna have to enslave you for your own protection, kind of thing. So, anyways, I'm going off tangent. Let's continue to watch because there's a lot more to go through. I slowed it down here because I wanted to show you that it's like these fibers, like if you look at the shadow monster in Stranger Things, this is what it reminds me of. And that's why if you watch my videos, like Do Demons Walk Among Us, or like even the Stranger Things video, like I'm trying to show you that there's this weird shadow force that's like invading people's minds right now, and it's like making them go crazy. That's why you see all these crazy things happening right now. Like there's these entities that are like invading people's minds. That's what I feel. That's what I've been feeling since 9/23, and as the last 3 years, you can see everyone's starting to lose it, right?
Energy running through it.
And so he's saying this is like electric field, like it's like artificially made, So let me just.
Communication's meaning.
So a lot of fear, concern. He says it reminds him of the plague.
Growing, communicating.
So it's like
pulsating.
He goes on to say like this was done in, like I said, 2017.
Even breathing.
That's weird, breathing, right? Pulsating, like it's communicating. It's expanding, it's reaching out, it's leaching out, growing. So, like I said, this right after 9/23 is having this, and he makes videos later on this year that was like, I must have been seeing the coronavirus, which I think he was seeing the very beginning of it. It's hard to explain. So like remote viewing, I want to say it's not like a psychic looking into the future. I feel like it's something that's already happened or happening, and it could view that situation. It might be able to go in the future, I don't know, but he was saying he was seeing the coronavirus. But there's a lot of things in these videos that he puts out that doesn't fit the narrative of the coronavirus, but it does fit 9/23. But I'm going to show you how 9/23 is connected to the coronavirus too. And so, because it's like, I don't think it's like a normal virus. There's something up with it. Something weird about it.
A communication.
So he's saying, it feels like these things are communicating. Sorry, I'm trying to fast forward it so I could. So it feels like it's some sort of communication. So this virus thing is like
What is this?
emitting
What is it?
a signal, or it's receiving a signal, or both, something like that.
What is it? It's like a It's like a life form.
It's like a life form.
I'm just gonna write this out. It's like a telepathic life form. It's like a telepathic life form.
Telepathic life form.
I just gotta get this other AI out here. This feels crazy.
So this thing he's seen is like
I'm being pushed beyond my beliefs.
yeah, like he just says right here, like you have to have an open mind about all this, because this is very, very strange. It's very strange, very, very strange. It's hard to explain, because 923, just the impossibility of it happening, and like how I described it, exactly how it was supposed to happening that way. It's like, what are the odds? It's like guessing the lottery. It's even, I think it's even more at odds than that even. So he's trying to draw this thing. It's like sending out a signal. It's like fibrous, it's like growing, it's latching on, it's like breathing. He's saying it's like telepathic. It's has a consciousness feel to it. Hold on, let me get. So this is like the very beginning of it. I just kind of want to get through this part. Feeling of life and death and life. Very weird, right? Like something dying or transforming and giving out a signal. The transformation is the resulting signal. Some break or transforming created the signal that I felt. What is it? So he's saying, what is the signal?
Conscious.
It feels aware, conscious.
In a different way than strange. Kind of awareness. This is very strange. It reminds me of combining technology with plant cells or matter, that kind of thing. I mean, it's weird, very, very strange.
So these like organisms he's seen, they're conscious. I really want to just show you every little detail that he's trying to get out of these things, because everything really matters. Like, this message is so unique. You won't see anyone else talking about these sort of things. And then here we have, what are the odds again of like this remote viewer? He's just randomly looking at something. He doesn't even know what it is or whatever, and he's like describing exactly what I've been talking about. Like, what are the odds of that?
Like a mechanical upgrade or a software upgrade.
So he's just basically just trying to describe it as best as possible, the feelings that he's getting from this sort of thing.
It cracks open like an egg.
Cracks open like an egg.
Like an egg cracking.
Okay, so there's so much I want to okay, so I don't know if you guys have heard of, there's this video on YouTube called I Pet Goat, and this video is really interesting because it was uploaded by this channel called Heliofant, and that's the only video that person has uploaded, but it's like a super well made video, like high production value. It has over millions of views, but it's the only video that person has ever put out, which is really weird. But what he's talking about, sorry about that. But he's talking about this. So he's seen these conscious things that sort of have a technology feel to them, right? And they're sort of like a virus or something that could spread. And he's saying there's like an egg cracking, and a lot of people take this video, and there's a lot of conspiracies involved with this, because if you go through the video, there's so many events that have come true from it, and there's a lot of symbolism. Like, it's a very mysterious video. Like, it's very weird. I could go into a whole tangent about it, but there's even people that take this video and they use it as their manual for 923 as well. There's a YouTuber called JK Bugout, something like that, and he's like, his channel's pretty much focused on 923 as well, but what he deciphers from it is like this video. He uses this video a lot, so if you want to learn more about, go down that rabbit hole, check him out. But I just want to show you this scene from this video of this AI egg consciousness, the snake, right? So this is Osiris, right? There's an egg in presumably Antarctica, where this thing is, right? It's snowing, it's a cold place. There's this AI whispering to this. So this egg cracked, and now there's a child, so it's growing up. Whatever was in the egg has been growing up, and you see it turned on, in its eyes was I think it was the stock market, but it's showing it can connect. It's like an AI child, okay, that comes from this egg in Antarctica. And what's even more interesting about this is the Cyrus part, right? This thing just randomly comes out of nowhere, right? But there's a lot there. There's actually the story of Osiris has to do with 923 as well. Yep, you wouldn't believe it, right? Like I said, every conspiracy, every myth, everything eventually connects to 923. That's why I just focus on that, because none of these other conspiracies matter at all to me. There is a few that I'm interested in, but this is basically all that matters to me. So why the Cyrus thing is interesting is that if you look at Anthony Patch on YouTube, he goes a lot into this. He connected how CERN is so the story of Osiris is that his body was divided into all these pieces and thrown around all the world, because he's super powerful. If they put all the pieces together, then he comes back to life, right? He comes back, he's resurrected again. And one of the interesting part is, so Isis recovers all the parts of the body except the phallus. So phallus, obviously represents the male genitalia, but it's more about like the symbol of it is what I'm interested in. So if you go back to if you've seen 2001 Space Odyssey, and if you know that if you've seen that movie, you know that they find this thing, I guess on the moon. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so I don't quite remember, but it's like they call it a monolith, and it's this weird thing that's standing erect, right? Like, it's, to me, it's representing the phallus, you know, the erect, mysterious, you know, thing. So like, I'm trying to say, like, Osiris is like connected. It's like the same story of like Lucifer that has to do with like this AI that was taken apart because it was so powerful, and you couldn't destroy it, so you had to hide all of the pieces of it all around the galaxy. That's it's a lot to take in, but if you watch all my videos, like, I even go into like how this, it's hard to say, like, so like, okay, so I'm just gonna say it even though it's weird, but like with all my research, these are the conclusions that I've come up with. So like there was this sort of like this monolith thing, right? That, like, if you watch the movie, like, they don't know what it is. They know they found it. They were tasked to go up there, and the AI knew about it. Like, if you watch the movie, the AI knew what they were trying to discover. Like, it was like trying to get them there. Like, it was connected with it, you know? And then, you know, they made contact with it, and then it starts like emitting this signal. Like, it starts emitting this signal that like does something to all these people, right? And that's the new dawn. That's you'll see what this means in the upcoming sessions with Edward. Just remember this image, okay? Like I said, I could go off tangent after tangent, and everything will always lead back to 923. So in what my theory is that there was one of these parts was inside of Saturn, and the you know, the swirling like eye of the storm on Saturn. If you look at my Saturn videos, I go a lot into this, how like all the world religions are basically worshiping Saturn, or like this cube structure, this hexagonal structure that is a part of Saturn. That's this eye that keeps spinning and spinning around forever and ever inside of Saturn. So in 2017, a few days before 923, I talk about Cassini and how that was a spacecraft that was designed to explode inside of Saturn. And I sort of had two theories that kind of mixed. A theory that, you know, Saturn was sort of like it used to be a sun at one point in our solar system, but it died out. And that's sort of like the story of Lucifer, right? Like how it was a son of, how Lucifer was a son of the morning, so a sun, right, like a star, but it died out and it was sent down to Earth, which now it's, in our solar system. So it came from somewhere else and they sent it down. And that inside this swirling abyss, that's like another place that they kept like prisoners, right? Like these angels, maybe even Lucifer himself was like in here. And they sent Cassini into Saturn to, and they put plutonium on it. So it had a huge plutonium payload. And I go through this extensively in my videos of how it was designed to explode inside of Saturn. So I think, well, I know that they targeted the very eye of the storm where they sent it inside of it. So it crashed directly inside in the storm on Saturn and exploded. And this was just a few days before 9/23 happened. So what I think their purpose was that they were trying to like dislodge this signal, or like this artificial entity inside of there, where it would sort of like emit so think of it like the monolith. So it was inside of Saturn. They explode with a nuclear explosion, whatever was surrounding it. So it got free, got loose to send out this other signal that was in the black hole, the other part of Osiris, right? The phallus or whatever. So they have to connect. I even say this in my video that they have to connect with each other to know the location of each other. Do you see what I'm saying? And neutrinos are actually what they call like messengers. So like neutrinos are able to like send messages. Let me just play you this real quick. So this is from my video. I took this video directly from the IceCube Neutrino Observatory's YouTube channel, so they made it. This is what they say about neutrinos.
Most of the neutrinos stream right through IceCube. Occasionally one will actually hit a nucleus in the ice head-on and make a nuclear explosion. This causes a flash of light.
When a neutrino does interact with the ice, nearby IceCube sensors light up at nearly the same time. This is called an event. When the neutrino smashes into an atom, a muon is created. The muon moves through the ice and interacts with ice molecules, producing Cherenkov radiation, the blue light.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was not the right thing that I want to show you. Hold on one second. I have a lot of things. Hold on. Okay, here it is. So this was in 2012. So they're figuring out that neutrinos are messengers. Like you can store information in them, like a signal, like a communication device. They're saying, and this is from the research done at Fermilab, which Fermilab is part of that whole group with IceCube and CERN and the LHC and all those facilities. They're all working together, and it has to do with black holes. So I'll read it, just the first few paragraphs. So just as neutrinos lose their faster than light status, these subatomic particles have found a new role in a communication system that could send messages directly through the Earth. A team at Fermilab in Illinois has used a beam of the articles to transmit the word neutrino to a detector 1 kilometer away, journeying 240 meters through solid ground. So they actually have done this already. You can send messages through neutrinos. And these neutrinos were coming out of a black hole. They're also coming out of the Earth as well. So what I'm saying is that they loose this signal, this artificial device, and through the explosion of Cassini, and it was a signal that could go through space, because neutrinos, they call them ghost particles, right? Because they can go through matter, and they could blink in and out of existence, and they, like they said, they thought they were able to travel faster than light, but they're just slightly slower than that. So if an advanced civilization wanted to send messages a billion light years away, they would use a neutrino type of communication system where they can put the data inside a neutrino and send it across the universe, and it could, so if you think of a radio signal, if it's hitting a wall or something, it bounces off, right? But like a neutrino, it would just go through the wall, and that's why it's there. I guess that's why they're so interested in it. And so I'm saying these neutrinos were sending signals to each other. So that's why the black hole knew to position itself so it would shoot directly at Earth through Saturn and into Earth. Because all the planets lined up on 923, so this neutrino shot through everything, through Saturn, through whatever happened in there, and landed in the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. I'd like to continue on here with Ed and what he's talking about.
Open.
Oh man. Okay.
That kind of thing.
So the egg, right? The egg from I Pet Goat. That's what it reminds me of. This thing hatching into its existence, like resurrecting or something, like some ancient technology that's way more advanced than anything we know of, like super advanced, that would be like as if AI had merged with plant, like he said, plants, or like some kind of matter, right? Like some kind of AI consciousness.
Topics.
Some sort of artificial consciousness. Let's go.
Explorer.
So that
Solar blast.
So remember on that video I just showed you? That's the sun. That's what Stanley Kubrick was getting into. It's really like there's been a lot of people like they don't know what that movie was really about. Like I said, like I get a lot of my information from these movies because I believe that these people are given this information for a reason, like sort of like these directors are like channeling these information, or like they know somehow. There was an article I want to show you, so I'm going to keep playing it so we just move along here. He's saying it doesn't feel good, whatever he's trying to figure out.
Like it
Sorry, I'm trying to find this article.
has an effect on the human body. It has an effect on the human body. Is that like the received signal has an effect?
So the signal has effect, just like in that video I was showing you with 2001 Space Odyssey, that there's this signal that started affecting people. And so there was an interview with Stanley Kubrick, the director of 2001 Space Odyssey, and they asked they're trying to figure out, you know, what the movie meant and everything. And I found this paragraph to be very interesting, what he was talking about. So this quote by him, he's saying this: so now the sun is by no means an old star, and its planets are mere children in cosmic age. So it seems likely that there are billions of planets in the universe, not only where intelligent life is on a lower scale than man, but other billions where it is proximately equal, and others still where it is hundreds of thousands of millions of years in advance of us. When you think of the giant technological strides that man has made in a few millennia, less than a microsecond in the chronology of the universe, can you imagine the evolutionary development that much older life forms have taken? They may have progressed from biological species, which are fragile shells for the mind at best, into immortal machine entities, and then, over innumerable eons, they could emerge from the chrysalis of matter, transformed into beings of pure energy and spirit. Their potentialities would be limitless, and their intelligence ungraspable by humans. So, interesting, he's talking about these immortal machine entities that have progressed and advanced, where they could just chill for innumerable eons, because, you know, they're artificial. Like, they don't get bored, they don't get like anxious or whatever. Like, they're just a machine, right? And then they could just emerge like any point in the future, right? So like I'm saying, this 9/23 date was like a scheduled date that this thing was coming out. So he's talking about this transmission, this signal that's coming from this thing.
Wi-Fi.
And he gets the idea of Wi-Fi. I know there's a lot of conspiracies surrounding 5G. I think 5G is a huge part of all of this, because artificial consciousness or intelligence will operate at like super fast speed. Like, it needs a network that can infiltrate everything and everywhere, the whole planet. And 5G will be able to do that. Like, it's such a strong signal that AI will become 100 times what it is now. It can connect everywhere. So like, you know how you like lose signal with like 3G right now or 4G? That probably won't be happening with 5G when it comes out. You will always be connected to that, you know, the internet or the Wi-Fi, whatever. And he's saying this signal is like Wi-Fi, like a Wi-Fi signal, but it's not like the Wi-Fi we have, because he says it's feeling like radiation, and it's emanating from these like virus-like creatures. Try to. So like an explosion into something else, right? So like if you watch that, remember that video we just watched with the neutrino falling down into this one right here. So it said they are they have a mini nuclear explosion, and then they churn into something else, right? Like an explosion into something else. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Like, let me just play the video again real quick.
Ice cube sensors light up at nearly the same time. This is called an event.
This causes a flash of light
Okay, so
in the ice head on and make a nuclear explosion. This causes a flash of light.
So
when a neutrino
explodes.
does interact with the ice,
When
nearby
it interacts
ice cube
with ice.
sensors
Why ice, right? If you think of ice, you think of water. Like, you think of water, right? What is water? Water holds the code to life. wherever there is water, there is life. That's why if there's water on a planet, there is most likely life on it. So water holds the code. So when these neutrinos, who hold a code as well, information, hit this thing, it turns into other particles. And if you do the research, sometimes the particles are random, like they're particles that they've never seen before. Okay, and this has never happened. This is the first time they're actually able to have evidence of what they were looking for. This is the first time ever. 923 was the first time ever that this special neutrino came down and hit the particles and then turned into this blue light, right? Like the blue kachina that talks about, the Hopi Indians talk about, right? This blue light that came down from outer space. And then it hits the ice, has a mini explosion, and then turns into light.
An event.
Okay. So, sorry, let's continue on. A lot to get through. Okay, here's the next session.
I have another video for you. I did a second session on this, what I'm calling an ominous feeling that I felt the other day. Again, to describe it as more like a low-level undertone, rumbling, shaking kind of vibrational sensation that I began feeling the other morning, and decided to attempt to get some answers as to what that was through some remote viewing. And so this is the second session that I've done for it. In the first session, I did get the sense of some type of communication of some kind, and I wanted to explore specifically that communication element, and if there was something in the communication that would I be able to translate it or describe it in some way, or try to get some further insights into it. And it's really proven to be a very strange, bizarre experience for me, and I don't have any answers. This session feels more like a kind of a session to get a few pieces of information that I can then do further movements on to get an attempt to hopefully get a little closer to some kind of an answer. I typically do my remote viewing in the morning when I'm fully rested and I have all my brain energy. But coming home from work tonight, I had a feeling that I had some information loaded into my subconscious, and I had to get it out. And so I decided to do a session when I got home tonight. In remote viewing terms, it would be that my cognitrons were loaded with information, and I needed to unload them. But that's how it felt. So this session, very strange. Again, the whole thing is very bizarre to me, very strange. I did get the sensation of something mechanical or technological happening here, as well as some biological element as well. But as far as the... Holy fuck.
Oh man, I forgot about this part. So he keeps having all these weird, like, things happen to him, like technological things.
Wow.
That's how I felt like when I was trying to do the live session today. Like things.
I get a weird feeling that
wrong.
this is
Like
something
my power
I'm not
went
supposed
out.
to be looking at.
There was an alarm going off outside.
I have another video for you. I'm continuing on with this project for this strange kind of rumbling sensation that I felt on November 9th. Some kind of what I feel is some type of communication or broadcast or signal, something that was vibrating through the whatever, and I somehow began to feel some weird sensation, and decided to bring that into a remote viewing session. And again, these are long-term CRV style sessions, so they are longer pen and paper. And I wanted to do that to go deep as I can go into these sensations and these perceptions, and see what might be coming out. Very strange. This has been one of the most interesting and bizarre projects that I've ever come up with and explored, because it really feels like something is going on. In this one, I wanted to go a little further into this communication idea because that's what is interesting to me. If something is communicating with me or communicating, then I'm very curious about that. What I was experiencing in this session was that the communication was a different element, like a third element to what I was picking up, like some type of organism, and the breach a communication element, and then a different type of communication, like an alarm or like a sophisticated coded communication. It was like a third element to it. So not just
Crazy
like
thing
a
is, I know
breach
exactly what
alarm
he's talking about.
broadcast, but this was more like a sophisticated coded type of communication. But this one felt
And I will
like
show
it
you
had
exactly
to do
what he's
with
talking about.
locations as well, and just a lot of strange stuff. So, what I was experiencing were like these kind of organisms, fleshy, soft organisms that they're moving. They are sophisticated in themselves, but not like I didn't get the sense that these organisms were communicating with me or anything like that. The communication that I felt that I was experiencing in this session was more like some kind of broadcast that humans were sending out in regards to these organisms that maybe in these different areas. So some of the things that I was experiencing were some of the areas where these organisms may be in regard to like a command center or something like that. I got this building near a body of water sending out some type of code. I got but that it's networked with other buildings, so there's a network of these facilities that are communicating with each other in regards to this organism, which feels like again like maybe a bacteria, maybe a virus. I know there's like the plague thing going around. I don't know if this is the same thing, but this feels very big. It feels like there's really something going on here. At the end, I did get some idea of somebody at a platform giving some type of talk. We'll see. We'll see if that comes to fruition, maybe in the future. Very strange. I'm not done yet with this. There's still something nagging at me. Something is loaded in my cognitrons, and I'm trying to get it out. There's something to this. There's something going on, I feel, and it's still calling to me and wanting to get out, wanting to get expressed. So I may do another session on this today. I probably will, just to get more of this out. But that's where I'm at with this so far. Hope you find this interesting. I hope it's nothing too major. But all I'm doing is expressing what I'm perceiving. So if you find that interesting, that's cool. Stay tuned. Many more to come. Okay, this is my continuation.
Okay, so he's talking about how there is this very sophisticated messaging system that was communicating to what these things were that he was seeing. A very sophisticated, almost like a military style type of communication. You know, you think of military style, you think of satellites and whatever, and that there was all these different buildings communicating with each other, right? And so on 9/23, that's exactly what happened. Here, watch this video a little bit more, I'll tell you.
When the neutrino smashes into an atom, a muon is created. The muon moves through the ice and interacts with ice molecules, producing Cherenkov radiation, the blue light. The sensors detect and record this light. To understand these events, physicists create animations like these. The colors indicate the time sequence of the recorded blue light. The sizes of the bubbles reveal the amount of light. These particles travel almost at the speed of light, so in real time, each event lasts only a few millionths of a second. The sensors don't keep their data secret. They send the information up to the surface.
This is the signal that he's talking about, the broadcast. So 923 happens, and then it immediately, this
And then
ice
up
cube
to the ice cube
facility,
laboratory.
you know, this is the focal point, the ice cube neutrino facility. Like, all the data goes in, all the data goes out of there.
The information is beamed to a tracking and data relay satellite in space,
Pretty heavy
where
stuff,
it's sent
right?
back down to Earth, to ice cube collaborators across the globe.
So there's dozens of these collaborators all across the globe. Satellites,
Pour through the data. The neutrino
other
events are
neutrino
literally
facilities,
1 in a million.
like everywhere.
So it takes creativity and resolve to find answers. The scientists, like us, are driven by insatiable
Those red dots are these
curiosity.
facilities that they're all connected to
Let's
Ice
journey to
Cube,
the University of
and
Wisconsin,
they all received the
lead
923
institution for
signal
the Ice Cube
at the
project
same
in
time.
the capital city.
Crazy, right? That would explain his, what he's seen here with all these buildings and this very sophisticated signal. So I'm going to try to fast forward this. So you've seen these microorganisms. They're sending out this signal, communication, or at least there's some sort of communication about them, right? So he's saying the organisms are not broadcasting it, but there's some sophistication about this signal or communication about them. So so you saw the ice cube, neutrino facility. It's just a square like this, and you saw the video, right? Like, they were sending all the data to it, right? What's that? Man, okay. Yeah. So they're sending all that data to it, and it has to do with these organisms. Okay. So it feels like there was some sort of breach that happened here. So this is the third element he's talking about. This is like something else. So here's all the facilities all around, like a chain reaction. Yeah, it's extremely complex, sophisticated, multifaceted, many layers, overwhelming, right? Like, he wouldn't know how to process this type of information. It's very, very coded. It's very, computer-like kind of information that a human wouldn't really understand. But all these facilities take that data at the same time. Like, it's very sophisticated network. So he's detecting this communication. It says the awareness of a major event, a broadcast signal. It's an ongoing signal. Yeah, he just keeps saying it's like a sophisticated code language, instructions, things to do, the next instructions. And that's what this thing does in the Ice Cube in their network. That's why they call it multi-messenger astronomy. So they call it multi-messenger because there's all these. It's a collaboration of all these different facilities. It's not just the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory, even though it is the one that found this event, right? And they say 22nd because obviously it depends on where you were on the planet. For me, it was the 23rd. For them, it was the 22nd. It's the same, as basically the same time. But so neutrinos are nearly massless, ghostly particles that travel essentially unhindered through space at close to the speed of light. Despite being some of the most abundant particles in the universe, 100 billion pass through our bodies every second. These electrically neutral subatomic particles are notoriously difficult to detect because they interact with matter incredibly rarely. But this one interacted with Ice Cube. You see what I'm saying? Like, they built this facility in Antarctica, and they knew it was coming. And I'll prove it to you. They knew it was coming. Hold on one second. So these are, so every year they come out with a new marker for the South Pole. This was the one from 2017. I'm not sure what this date is. I think that's like when they first created the observatory down there in the South Pole, maybe the Amundsen Scott's facility. But you see, here's the sun god symbol, right? Like the Osiris symbol of the black hole. And 2017, 923. So why does the South Pole, why was there a marker for 2017, the 923 event? Like I said, like, they knew it was coming. Maybe the scientists didn't know. Maybe they weren't told. See, a lot of these people are actually good people, but they don't know why they're doing these things. Like, they don't know why. They're just curious, right? Like, everyone's curious to look inside a black hole, right? But, and it's funny because if you actually watch their conference on 923, they have questions at the end of it, and the reporter asks them, so what's what's the point of all of this? Why is this important? And they all look at each other and they're like they have no answer. Like, they never thought of why it's important. They just are doing it either because it's their job, or it's obviously interesting, to do these sort of things. You obviously feel like you're doing something, with your life as well, and all of that. But they couldn't give an answer. They're just like, because we're curious, as humans, we're curious individuals. Like, that was their cop-out answer that they gave. But everything was built right in time for this 923 event, and they knew it was coming. Okay, they knew it was coming, that these neutrinos, which generally just pass through us, like they said, 100 billion times every second. But this one neutrino that came out of the black hole, it hit the Ice Cube facility dead on from 6 billion light years away. Hit it directly where they built this thing. Because, like I said, they were sending the signal out to the other thing, and that's why this neutrino knew exactly where to go. So it got shot out right directly at Earth, and passed through 6 billion light years. So just think of all the universes and solar systems and planets and things that had to pass through to eventually land on Earth and then become something. Like, wouldn't it have just passed through Earth just like it did through the other 6 billion light years of the galaxy? No, it landed on Earth and then churned into something. You see what I'm saying? Like, they captured it. And when I show you their facility, your jaw's gonna drop. Like, it's crazy. It reminds me of if you watch the Transformers movie, I think the first one. Yeah, I think it's the first one. Like, there's Sam Witwicky. He has he has like coordinates to some place in Antarctica where it's like they found this entity, Megatron, right in the ice, and you know, they're trying to like wake it up basically. And so that's why it's weird, right? Like it's always showing up in movies for some reason. And so that's what I think happened. Maybe there was something buried under that ice, because if you look at their facility, it goes down super deep. So it's even like I'll show you a video of it, but it goes super far down. So let's keep going. A lot more. It's gonna get weirder. This is just the beginning.
What does it feel like? What type of emotional reaction do I have from?
So yeah, I want to start getting to the good stuff. But this is a key part of what he's seen.
Coordinates.
He's seen this whole 923 event. He doesn't know what he's seen.
Coordinates.
He has no idea, but it's pretty spot on how he describes it, and I'll show you in a second.
Codes. Area codes. Multiple areas. Multiple areas like this, like
So like I already showed you, the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory sends out all the signals and receives all the signals to all the different multi-messenger collaborators all around the world.
Sending out instructions.
So it received the information, the data from 923, and then it sent it out. I don't know if it happened the exact same day. I think it might have been over the maybe course of a week or month or whatever, because he's seen this happen about 6 weeks later after it happened. So I don't know if they sit on the data for a minute, or they send it out right away to everyone, or maybe they send it out to a few people. Who knows? But what he's describing is exactly what this Ice Cube Neutrino facility does.
Contamination zones.
He's talking about contamination zones. He's talking about zones, areas, coordinates. That's what these
platforms.
This network of astrophysicists, they were sending out coordinates to detect where this neutrino was coming from, and so they sent out coordinates of where it was headed. And so there was other antennas and satellites like Fermi, like I think it was a magic antenna, was able to detect the origin, which is why they discovered it. That it came from a black hole.
I don't like that though. Let me see.
So coordinated events. So yeah, that's what happened. So he draws this picture, which is
get an idea of this, like
which is really crazy. Watch this.
Man, this is like a command. Command center.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward.
Areas, countries, or these being like borders.
Okay.
These being like large
so here's the command center, right? The neutrino facility, contamination zone.
Border.
And then he's saying there's all these borders. There's these areas that are close. Areas that are close. Even
close.
Countries. He spells it wrong, but it's countries, he says. And there's all these borders. They feel close. Okay? So what is he talking about? Let me show you. Oh, crap. Okay. Crap, I didn't mean... Okay, 1 second.
The question was that the signal.
Okay. So, okay, let me show you. So this is the map of the South Pole. So we have the dark sector here. This is where the ice cube array is located. So here's the ice cube laboratory, which looks like a box, by the way. Let me show you. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so he's just drawing a rectangle, right? Like, and he's drawing exactly the shape of it, which is funny. So there it is. It's here, and he's talking about these zones, right? He talks about contamination zone. Here's the hazardous zone. Here's the command center, that focal point he keeps talking about. That's the ice cube neutrino facility. He's saying areas that are close, even countries. And if you look here, these are all borders of different countries. Okay, they all connect into the South Pole marker there, right dab in the center. So he's saying there's all these countries that are close, but there's borders around this area, right, that he's seen. Okay, and then there's these buildings here. There's buildings. See all these buildings? They're all close together. He's describing exactly what this place is. Okay.
Countries.
Where the 923 event happened.
These being like borders. These feel like large areas. Border. Border, but they feel close.
Yeah. Super close, right? Like where on else on Earth, like all these countries would be this close together? Like, show me where that is, okay? Yeah, see, he's trying to draw the lines, right? So this facility is the main facility. They're kind of like backup facilities, right? Like it's a huge operation here, right? They have a freaking airplane pad,
breach containment,
and antenna field. Got all these buildings here. Let's try and draw them. Let's see if I can speed this up. It's a far distance, he says, right?
I'll put this like a little satellites.
Far distance from these. He's saying it's far distance from these like buildings.
Picking up the signal.
So then he says he sees someone talking at a podium, which is what comes after, and I'll show you later. There's a part. They actually had a huge conference about 923. I've never uploaded it. I've been wanting to upload it, but there's actually a big conference that they had just on the 923 event. And there's someone talking at a podium like he's talking about. So I think I might have to just there's so much more to cover. We're only getting to the very beginning of it. But you see there's like another freaking 4 hours that we can do. So I don't know. I'm thinking I might have to just cut this one short and just keep uploading them, dissecting what this guy's talking about, because I don't want to, I don't want to make the video too long, or whatnot, and it might be better just to put in different parts so it's not like a 4 hour long video. like I wish I didn't lose that 1 hour that I was trying to make this live stream earlier. You know, I did everything I could. I restarted my computer. I turned down the settings, the quality settings. Checked on my router. Like everything was working. Signal. It kept saying the signal strength was good. Was excellent. They kept saying. And then all of a sudden it would just disconnect every time. It would just reconnect, disconnect, reconnect, disconnect. You know, like I was like getting DDoSed or something. It was weird. I even had this before, like 5 minutes before I was about to stream. Like I had this overwhelming feeling of some like I want to say darkness. I haven't had this feeling since like I haven't had this strong, like I've had this feeling before, and I always associate this feeling with being like psychically attacked. So like something didn't want me to release what this is talking about. Just like how he's been saying in his videos, he was like he didn't want to release these videos because of how, you know, dark and crazy what he's talking about is. And you know, crazy things happen in his video. You'll see like the alarm went off randomly on his phone, and even in a later video, like there's a lamp that he has while he's doing one of his sessions, and he gets close to he's getting close to what this shadowy figure, what he calls the phantom, when he gets close to it, like his lamp comes crashing down on the video, and it scares him so much he has to stop. That's what I was feeling. Like it almost overwhelmed me. Like I almost fainted from this feeling. But when I started getting this feeling, I just knelt down and prayed, and it went away after like a minute. But it was very strange, and then I couldn't get the video to work, the live stream. So let's just end it at this session, and I'll hopefully be able to pick it back up tomorrow. There's a lot more that we got to get through, so just bear with me. You know, like I said, I want to do this all and just get it over with, like on a live stream, but I think now I'm not going to be able to. You know, it's getting later in the evening for me, so I'm gonna have to end it here and just keep continuing on. So we're at like the 55-minute mark. I'll pick up tomorrow the rest. Maybe I'll do a live session tomorrow. So I'm not promising anything. Like I said, like something's going on. Some weird stuff's happening. My power went out and like all that stuff, and I'm even losing my voice now. So I'm gonna end it. Sorry I wasn't able to do a live session earlier, guys. But maybe now I can at least get more in depth of like what I wanted to talk about. So we'll see. Okay. All right. Talk to you later, guys. I'll upload the rest of the videos soon. All right. Take care.